Welcome to episode 83 of the Mental Dietitian podcast. I'm your host, Ahren Lynch-potter. And today's episode is called 3 Tips when Life Isn't Going Your Way. 3 tips when life is not going your way. So every time I do a podcast, it's always what I'm dealing with right now. I want to make sure that when I'm speaking, I'm being relevant. It's actually something that I'm dealing with currently, and it's something that I can make sure that I'm authentic and I can speak from the heart. That's the most important thing for me. Sometimes it's not the most polished. Sometimes I'm not the most, sometimes I might repeat myself, but I want to make sure that I'm always real. So before this, I was supposed to be on a podcast with somebody. They couldn't figure out Zoom. They're having some technical issues and they couldn't log it in and they just wouldn't allow them to do it. And then there's some stuff going on at work and I'm in sales and it's just funny. Like life is not going my way right now. And I had to laugh today that I made dozens and dozens of phone calls today. If you don't know, I sell cars as a main source of living. And the goal is to transition to transformational coaching, psychedelic integration, and addiction recovery coaching. And I'm slowly doing that. If you're interested in learning more about that, and that is appealing to you, I talk about it quite often. Reach out to me on Instagram. I do have one spot right now for a free pro bono client. So I'm transitioning out of sales. It's not what I want to do forever. But anyway, today was one of those days where every call, not every call, but a lot of the calls, it's just like people were hanging up on me. I didn't feel like I was in my groove. And like I made this one call to a lady, her name was Penny. And I said, "Hi, Penny, blah, 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 blah. Not interested," hangs up. And it was like the 3rd or 4th time that happened today. And I felt the inkling to be negative. I felt it. And I just started laughing. I was like, isn't that funny? When you really got that momentum and things are going and you just can't lose, things feel effortless. And then sometimes life just feels like no matter what you're doing, it's just like, man, I can't fucking win right now. And that's okay. And life is cyclical. Nature is cyclical. But not every day is going to be a good day, because without the rain and the gloomy clouds, we wouldn't appreciate it when it's a beautiful sunny day. It's just part of life. And that's one perspective to always remember, that if nature can go in seasons and have spring, summer, autumn, winter, then you're going to also have things that aren't always good. It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. But 3 tips I really wanted to cover and I wanted to give you as something that I really use, and especially I used it today. And I'm going to use it until I get this momentum back, until I kind of get back in my groove, is number one, the most important thing is diet and exercise. Sometimes a gloomy mood can be fixed with a good meal or a good workout. It's as simple as that. Literally, sometimes you might just be really hungry, and sometimes you might just be really tired. And a good, healthy, nutritious meal with good whole ingredients that were alive at some point, whether or not you're a vegan, whether or not you're a carnivore, whether or not you're a mixture of both, eating good quality ingredients that are organic, preferably local, preferably small kind of farms, and having a nice meal like that can drastically change your state. Another thing that I did today is I went to jiu-jitsu at 1 p.m. I got a sweat on. I went with my boy Justin. We had a great time. And I did feel better afterwards. I always feel better after I exercise. And this is one of those times where I always say to people, ignore your feelings when it comes to exercise. If you're like, oh, I don't really want to, I'm just really tired, unless you're exercising 7 days a week and your body's like, please stop, I need to rest. I'm not talking about that. We're talking if you exercise maybe 3 to 5 times a week and there's a day If you haven't gone for 1 or 2, 3 days, and that voice in your head is like, hey, I don't want to go. Don't listen to that voice, because action comes before feeling sometimes. You need to act your way into the feeling, especially when you're gloomy, especially when life's not going your way. You might be going through something. You could be going through something really big, a divorce, something like that. You could be dealing with some really hard emotional things. Whatever you do, please don't miss out on eating good, nutritious food, even if you have to force yourself to do it. And don't miss your workouts. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your future. Your future self is looking at you right now and really hoping that you look after yourself and you love yourself. That's one thing that has really helped me. Anytime I'm feeling crappy, anytime I feel like I've just got a lot of resistance, life's kind of pushing against me, no matter what I'm doing, it feels clunky, it's not smooth, which is kind of what I'm going through right now. Diet and exercise. Number 2, it's okay to take a break. In fact, sometimes it's completely necessary. For example, I work in sales, so I'm a communicator. If my communication is not on point and I'm frustrated and there's outside things that are changing my tone, or I'm getting frustrated with people, I need to take a break, because I'm just actually going to make it worse. I'm going to maybe say something to somebody wrong. I may get somebody on the phone. I might have been carrying the previous call into the next call, and I'm just not on my A game. Sometimes it's okay to take a break, especially if you need to rest. A lot of us just keep going without taking time to rest. But sometimes you don't want to rest too much. You don't want to rest too much, because it's like that saying, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. That has some truth to it too. Sometimes if we sit there and just think about our problems, we can go down these negative spirals in our minds and get trapped in these places. But if you're exhausted and you're working 12 to 16 hours a day and you're grinding towards something, take a break. Your muscles grow not when you work out. Your muscles grow when you are sleeping, when you are resting. Some of my best ideas I've had to do with this podcast, to do with anything, have been when I'm taking a walk in nature and I'm not on my phone, I'm not scrolling through social media, I'm not trying to make a sales call, I'm not working on my business, I'm not doing anything. It just gives me that space to really detach from it. And then my subconscious might have been working on something in the background, and it finally has that space to share it with me. So it's okay to take a break. It's okay to rest. In fact, it is necessary. Sometimes you just need to go home, have a nice meal, go for a workout, whatever you do to rest, to actually rest and rejuvenate. And then you can come back the next day and maybe you realize that you were just really freaking tired. You've been working really hard. You deserve to rest. You deserve to rest. And this is going to be interesting. Tip number 3, work harder. Sometimes you do need to put more effort in. Now, this is talking to people in sales, especially, or any kind of commission-based or any kind of business or anything where your income, especially if it's income, or whether it not, maybe it's your weight loss journey, whatever it may be, where you put an effort in to get a result. That's what I'm talking. You put an effort in to get some kind of result on the other side. And the more effort you put in, the more result you get. Sometimes, especially in business or in sales or anything like that, and you hit this kind of block where you got a lower resistance. It's how I feel right now. I'm going to work harder this week. I'm going to get my momentum back. I'm going to go in an hour earlier to the office. I'm going to make more calls. I'm going to break through just with so much effort that the universe is it's just undeniable. It's impossible not to win. There's universal laws that if you put enough energy into something, eventually it works. But you have to obviously evaluate the energy you're putting into things. If you're grinding to make the new blockbuster and you want to bring video cassette tapes back, not the best plan. But if you're in some industry where, especially sales or business or something like that, where you're not getting the results you want, sometimes you do need to work harder. If you put an hour extra a day, that's 5 extra hours a week. Say you put in 2 hours extra a day. That's 10 hours a week. That's 40 hours a month extra. That's an extra week's worth of work. And all you did is you got to the office an hour earlier and you stayed an hour later. Or maybe you worked a weekend until you get back to that place where things are flowing again, where you don't feel like you need to put 4 units of effort in to get 1 unit of result. Eventually you get to the place where you put 1 unit of effort in and you get 1 unit of results. And sometimes when you got the big momentum and it's at your back and it's just full steam ahead, sometimes you put 1 unit of effort in and you get 5 units of results. But it always comes and goes. And just be mindful that you're gonna have time, especially maybe in your workouts where you're like, man, I just feel like I'm putting on weight right now. Change it up, do something different, work a little bit harder, change things a little bit. These things can really help you when you feel like you're stuck in life, when you feel like you lost that momentum. It doesn't feel like life's going your way. You just kind of, you almost feel like you're kind of going back into that victim mentality. And I'm speaking from my own experience. I've lived in a victim mentality in my early 20s. I thought everybody else's fault. I thought everybody was against me. And sometimes that can creep back in, especially if things just keep going your way. Not going your way, should I say. I had 5 people hang up on me today. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is going on? Surely this can't be a coincidence. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But I'm going to choose to control what I can control and do what I can control on my end, because I can't control whether or not people hang up on me. I can't control people's reactions. All I can control is myself, what I feed myself, what kind of exercise I do, how much rest I choose to give myself, because I'm a human, I'm not a robot, and how hard I work. With those variables that I control, I know, because I've been here before, I've been here many times, and I will be here again, that I can get back to that place where life is going my way. I just keep winning. I'm on a winning streak. So I hope this episode helps. I hope these 3 tips help you, and I look forward to chatting to you soon. And if you're stuck, it's not going to be forever. And also, if you're killing it, it's not going to be forever. You're going to need these tips at some point. Love you guys. We'll talk to you next week. If you get value from the show, please share it. Please download it. The more you download this show, the more people get to see our message and what we're creating, and you become part of this. You become part of this, and I really appreciate everybody sharing, everybody liking, and if you find any value in it, please share the show. I'd love to do this full time. I'd love to be a podcaster / coach, and you can help me achieve my dream. Love you guys. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.